Okay, that's enough of that.
Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey!
It's your president and your VP. And hey, guys, guess what? It's Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Which means...
Hey, that's a little cameo from the First Lady, guys.
Yeah, which means that it's time for a live review. And I know, guys, that we didn't exactly let you guys know ahead of time. But here it is, because today it's going to be Godzilla. Or, if you will...
Gojira? Gojira. It's Japanese, guys. We're gonna butcher these names.
A little bit, yeah. So the movie October 27th, 1954 in Nagoya. Yeah, then November 3rd in Japanese release. It was produced for a budget of roughly 100 million yen. I don't know what that translates to as far as monetary wise. But it made
I got you. 100 million yen, you said?
Yeah, $2.8 million at the box office, which was actually much, much more than that because it was re-released several times. Now, it was directed by Ishiro Honda, and that's pretty much the only one that I'm going to be able to properly pronounce.
Comes out to today's dollars anyways, $660,670.
Which is probably a lot less than that now, or a lot less than that back then. Probably roughly 500,000 maybe. So we'll go with that. And it was produced and made by a bunch of Japanese names that I cannot possibly pronounce.
Yeah, the director, we will try to pronounce this. It's Ishiro Honda. Hopefully we said that right.
And he's also the co-writer of the movie as well.
Yeah.
So also we have. Okay. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the movie literally begins with rumblings from the sea.
Yeah, there's some people on this boat, right? And they're having a good time, and all of a sudden, there's some bubbling coming from the ocean. Bright flash of light appears, and then they all sleep with the fishes, literally.
Yeah. Immediately. And so there's some speculation. Is it a tsunami? Is it an underground volcano? Is it a nuclear attack? Is it... they just don't know at the moment. So they do some research, and it turns out that there's this big giant footprint on this island. And then they realize that they're not dealing with any ordinary... catastrophic event caused by humans, which it kind of all is because of humans in the first place.
We'll get to that later.
So, they decide that they're going to investigate a little bit more, and we have a scene where they debate on what it actually is that causes it, and they figure out that it is, in fact, Gojira, or Godzilla, if you will. And then they're going to have to develop some sort of method to take out Godzilla. But before all of that, you get the rampage scenes.
Yeah, this is awesome because Godzilla, he just emerges from the sea and starts trampling towards Tokyo. And then you get, like, how the song describes it. There's a train full of people that's just coming in. And then they run into his foot. And he's just like, oh, hey. And
they sleep with the fishes.
Yeah.
So what we have to talk about too, though, is the underlying allegory that it is, in fact, a warning against biological warfare and nuclear warfare, and how if we keep screwing around, bad things are going to happen. There's going to be consequences.
Yeah.
Because, guys, what you need to remember when you watch this movie in the first place is that it was only 9 years after the end of World War II. So it was still pretty fresh on Japanese minds at the time. And I forgot to mention that currently it has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes for those of you who are interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I like that actually.
So it is very highly critically acclaimed. The 1955 American version with Raymond Burr, not so much. So there's that as well. One other thing that I have to point out is that, you can play a little game, if you will, when you watch the movie. See if you can determine which shots of Godzilla are a puppet, and which ones are in fact a man in a suit.
Running through miniatures. By the way, I know this was made in 1954, but the miniatures are very obvious. Like, it's laughably bad on how bad the miniatures are.
There are some very groundbreaking filming techniques used in the movie too. And one thing that you also should understand is that we described how there was evidence of the creature, but we didn't necessarily get to see the creature until about halfway through the film, which is a style that a lot of the 50s, 60s, and 70s monster movie directors, which we will be covering another one later on. We didn't get to it right now, guys, because
that will be some shenanigans happened, unfortunately. So when we finally get our editing software back, we will get that out for you.
So yeah, another one that we're doing is Jaws, guys.
Oh yeah, he's right here.
So we'll be
right there.
Yeah, and they use a similar technique in that you don't actually see the shark in that movie until much later into the film. So it's one of those kind of ask show type of scenarios.
Basically a tell don't show type of scenario, because even then, like in the movie, there's a shot of like people running, and there's a shot of people running through the miniatures, and there's Godzilla in the background, kind of stomping through. It's very cool actually.
Yeah, the way they combined and edited it all together is quite amazing.
Yeah, this movie I would say is a technical masterpiece, and that's saying something.
Yeah, and the film itself. It is very dialogue heavy, but they're discussing the ramifications. And at one point, there's this old man, and he's asking the question of that all they can think of is destroying the creature. But maybe what they should be thinking about is its resistance to radiation. And so with all of this being said, we get a flashback sequence of a young scientist who develops this weapon called the Oxygen Destroyer.
Let's go! This thing is so cool, guys.
And I had some questions because it had been a long time since I watched the movie, and then as I watched it, the answers were kind of revealed to me, and the fact that what was to stop humans from using the Oxygen Destroyer on each other? Well, the answer to that is that when it comes time for it, the scientist, he just voluntarily sleeps with the fishes.
He self-deletes himself, guys.
Yeah, and because these two, this young girl and this young man, they come to him and they plead with him to be able to use it to destroy Godzilla, and he was like, well, if we do, what's to stop other countries from, even though I've burnt my notes, what's to stop other countries and other people and my own people from coercing me into building another one, because it's this weapon that is so powerful that it literally splits your atoms.
It splits your atoms piece by piece. Basically, your protons and neutrons and electrons, they get... That's how powerful it is.
So... he's basically, after all that, and after all the destruction, and after all the chaos, one thing that we also have to mention is that Gojira, if you will, or Gojira, he's not really an evil creature. He was just, basically awakened by the testing, and he's like, well, I guess I need to go on a rampage now.
Yeah, because, and it's a bittersweet ending when you finally see him sleep with the fishes, because you're just like, oh, this is really it for Godzilla, isn't it?
Yeah, and the whole time, I mean, he wasn't doing anything that wasn't just in his nature to begin with,
Yeah.
So you really can't say that, and much like in another movie that we covered, you can also argue that the shark in Jaws is not an
We haven't covered that yet, so
creature
we'll have
either. So when we get to that, we'll argue those points as well. So overall, though, guys, it's a very well directed, very well acted movie as well. Very well written, because they truly had an axe to grind, so to speak, when it came to nuclear warfare, did the Japanese at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, I have to mention the soundtrack too. There's this overall Godzilla theme, if you will, that kind of plays ominously.
Every time he's on screen, you just get a beating of a drum that happens. That's to simulate his footsteps. It's really cool.
And then you've got the musical theme that is played towards the end during the rampage scenes and whatnot.
With
That's really cool
the
too.
Japanese Air Force kind of like shooting missiles at him. And guys, the Japanese Air Force have stormtrooper aim. All right, they just every missile they shot at them, they just completely miss.
Also, we learned that electricity does absolutely jack squat to Godzilla.
Yeah, because
he just kind of brushes it off.
They pumped 50,000 volts into him, and he's just like, please.
He's like, oh, that tickled, basically.
That didn't even tickle him. That's just like, what was that? Oh.
So, with all that being said, guys, this is definitely a classic. If you've never seen Godzilla 1954, do yourself a favor. Check it out. We found it on Pluto. It's also available on Tubi. You can find it on various...
Max as well.
You can find it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, just literally anywhere. However, one other fun fact that I should mention as well is that for 50 years, the original Japanese version was unavailable officially here in these United States. We did not get the actual original Japanese release here in the United States until 2004.
Wow. Also, next year, Godzilla's turning 70, y'all.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of did this a little ahead of time, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, Godzilla -1 comes out next month, so be prepared for that one when that one comes.
Also, okay, final rating, 5 out of 5, what say you?
Also a 5 out of 5.
It is definitely a classic, as we said before. Yeah, you have seen Godzilla 1954, and you believe that... I know, it was a horrible transition.
We were going to cover maybe stuff that we're going to be doing soon, like Jaws.
That comes at the end.
Oh, okay.
You know how these work. Come on now. If you have seen Godzilla 1954 and you believe that it is the worst Godzilla film of all time,
have you seen the 1998 version of Godzilla? I mean, have you seen how ugly he looks?
Spiel out. What's up?
Have you seen how ugly he looks with his fist chin looking thing? Sorry, that's the worst version. All right, go ahead.
But hey, just remember. We're just two idiots with a webcam. Our opinions do not matter, except they actually do, because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. So having said all that, guys, stay tuned as we've got Jaws on the horizon. We've got a movie called Ticks on the horizon as well, because we were originally going to do Cujo, but this is a replacement for it, so we got that one. Also, we've got a very special Power Rangers Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, we're finally doing it?
Yes. Tribute video coming up next month, because it's been, sadly guys, on a somber note, it has been nearly 1 year since the passing of Kevin Conroy and Jason David Frank, which is why we are doing the Power Rangers Batman the Animated Series tribute video to them next month. So stay tuned for that in November. Also, in December, we've got our annual 12 Days of Christmas-a-thon that we're going to be doing. So stay tuned for that as well. And then I'm not sure what we'll be doing after that, but we'll have some stuff in January for sure for you guys.
Yeah.
So, having said all that, there's only one thing left to say, and that, of course, is...
Peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye. There's
And
some
that's
trick-or-treaters.